Welcome to Round Robin. I'm your host, Robin McCormick with the City of Hampton. And today we are going to meet two young men who are making a tremendous difference in the lives of some of our youngsters, or young adults even. Their names are Corey Palmer and Jamen Mainor. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, Robin.
You guys have a truly grassroots effort that you were both sort of working and connected and are reaching a lot of kids.
Absolutely.
This is not something that was started and funded by government or an outside agency and handed to you. You guys grew this and
Absolutely.
grew it together. Why don't you start, Corey, with telling us how you got going in this effort to serve youth?
Well, how I got going, it's probably been a dream of mine since I was little. I was raised in the very area that I'm trying to give back to.
Right here in Hampton?
Right here in Hampton. So Old Hampton Community Center, when I heard that was being taken away, I tried to lobby to keep it available, my wife and I. So doing that effort, I became more involved in board activities with Old Hampton Association and Little England Civic Association and just things that were grassroots. And because I work at Cooper Elementary, I had my pulse on kind of kids and where they're at and how they were doing. The murders that you see recently, it just inspired me to do more because I have a little boy. He's 9 years old, and he comes with me for the summer. So quality programming and quality time with my son was important. So I decided to run a summer camp with him and his family and his friends, and it just grew.
And by run a summer camp, you mean have kids over and do the programming yourself and
Absolutely.
feed them yourself. I mean, this was not, I think people think summer camp, you have funding, you have an organization, you have all the, you just sort of took in kids, right?
Well, the city funds it.
A lot of them were related to you. Okay.
The city funds it. You have Bluebird Gap Farm, you have zoos, you have history museums, you have Hampton University, you have parks.
You're using resources
You have resources that are absolutely free. Once you pay for these things, you don't have to pay for them again. I mean, from dusk to dawn, you have Darling Stadium fields, Briar Field, you have all types of fields. And you can play. I mean, if you have a family reunion every day, nobody stops you from having a family reunion. Say, hey, let's play volleyball, basketball, or
And that's kind of what
football.
This was initially. Your
A
sons,
family
some
reunion.
cousins, some neighbors getting together.
Absolutely.
You're filling a gap for a bunch of parents who needed something to do with their kids in the summer, acquainting your son with his cousins and neighbors and sons and daughters of people you grew up with. Sons mostly? Is it exclusively young men that you work with?
It's not exclusive to young men because as a person myself, I mean, I have a sister, I have aunts, and they have children, so girls are allowed as well. We do programming for them. What LifeBridge is really a bridge between the gap. It just, dysfunctional families in the community, it's like giving them a dad or uncle. Say if you have a kid and you, boy or girl, they don't know, they need a dad, so they need to know how to change a tire, look at certain things that's in the home. So it's just, if you have your kid for the summer and you can't change a tire, you can't change the oil, you don't know HVAC, you don't know what to look for, you can bring them to somebody who does, and you can sit and watch. Even if it's on YouTube, just learn the basic skills of being able to stay in the home and take care of a family. So men and women need fathers, so that's like what the program is.
So it is sports, activities, cultural, field trips, but also very grounded in life skills.
Character development, absolutely.
And you sneak that in.
You sneak that in.
Because you're doing these other things, the character development happens.
Well, the team concept, I want to do intramurals because like Jamin said, schools only have either JV or varsity teams, which is, let's say, 12 per team.
Right.
You still have a whole lot of kids that want to do sports or activities at lower levels. Like in the NBA, it's like a developmental league. But for every school, it'll be like a developmental flag football or basketball league that we provide because recreation is mandatory now or going to be. Healthcare is mandatory. So mental health, we trap them with team sports. And that's the team concept. We just want them to be on teams so we can train them in teams. If you have them playing basketball and flag football together, I can have them do HVAC together, plumbing together, any type of other skill because they can relate to one another. The peer would hold them accountable. So when they think to themselves about 18, 19, well, what can I do? McDonald's will no longer be an option. Wendy's won't. They say, well, I do know a little bit of HVAC, and I took it with like 5 other people. And that resource can be used like, well, my dad can get a truck, and well, I got some tools, and you put it together as a team concept. So you just build teams.
So how did you get hooked up with Jamen? Because you were doing something parallel, similar, different group of kids. What, explain to us, and you had the charitable organization already.
Yeah, I started the Stop and Pop Youth Sports Charities in 2010, and in 2013 I was able to go nonprofit with it. And from there, I had spent a lot of time out of state traveling with my occupation. I'm an aircraft mechanic, so I've always not really had a lot of opportunity here in Hampton Roads. So I've always had to travel. But when I was able to get back and really focus on what I was trying to accomplish, Mr. Palmer came in very handily and helped me out with that.
He's an enthusiastic and convincing person. I can see where.
Absolutely, and I mean, he can speak well about the efforts and things that we're trying to do and accomplish. So it just was a natural fit for what he was doing in the Stop and Pop Youth Sports Charities, which we have our own outdoor basketball court, and we just try to keep these kids involved in activities. You know, the first thing, like you said, when they see the court, they're coming because they know they want to play basketball. And being that the center has been tore down, the resources are dwindling in our area of town. So, you know, this is a perfect place for them to actually continue the processes of being involved in sports and involved in education because, you know, like he's a teacher at Cooper. And so, you know, he has been formally educated on how to educate.
And used to working with kids, because I think that makes a difference. There are people that are great with it, but haven't been trained, but you've got both. You have the natural, I think,
we
I can
both
tell
have
already.
a military background. So, I mean, I was in the Army for a long time, and so was he. So, you know, just the training people, training soldiers, training the trained. So it works. And what we do is a non-traditional wraparound. We just fill in the blanks of what's needed. Considering the competition that we have in the city, let's say the average camp runs you between $60 to $80 per week. And what is the kid really getting out of that program? And that's like $1,000 over a 10, 11-week period. And will they learn Spanish, or will they learn, what do they actually walk away with, a certificate? I mean, you're paying $1,000. So if you're a single parent with 4 or 5 kids, you're looking at maybe between $800 to $1,000 per summer. I mean, even a regular occupation, I don't think can really afford that comfortably. So what we provide is affordable, quality, non-traditional wraparound services. And the marriage between what I was providing and what he offers made the marriage works. Because when I was talking to him about Stop and Pop, it's almost like he was listening to LifeBridge. So we say the same things, just the name is different. So the marriage works.
And you guys work with some city resources, and I'm going to...
Absolutely.
I just want to make it clear that the reason the Old Hampton Community Center was torn down is it was the oldest community center, the roof was going to cave in. I mean, there were serious structural issues, and the city is working on a replacement facility. And for now, there's a storefront neighborhood center, and you guys are able to utilize that for your program.
Absolutely. We encourage city partnerships because it's not like we're trying to be private. We're trying to utilize the library, the Hampton History Museum, the Blueberry Gap Farm. We're using our, I'd say, neighborhood network of kids to, you know, populate the area. To say we still here, we matter. You know, we use the library, we use different things just to show them we have a presence, to introduce kids who normally wouldn't go these places. Just give them a chance to.
And that's a huge thing. Even though these things exist in the community, some of them cost money. The History Museum typically costs money. You probably get a group discount.
Absolutely.
Some of them don't. Blueberry Gap is free. Sandy Bottom is free. But working parents have a really hard time with transportation, with making time to do recreation and cultural activities for kids.
Absolutely.
You know, it's a hard thing to run a house and take care of kids and work one job or maybe 2 jobs. And so you guys are providing that resource.
Absolutely.
What neighborhood, you operated in slightly different neighborhoods. I mean, they connect, but let's talk about the part of town that you guys are serving.
let's say District 7, 8, and 9.
Now, see, you're piped into the neighborhood commission, and you know what that means. But what we're really talking about is Old Hampton, which borders downtown, maybe stretching into Wythe, LaSalle Gardens, Newtown. I've heard it called Little England and Newtown.
Absolutely.
A little,
Well,
but even Shell Road, kind of along that corridor, there's a lot of need there.
Well, the target population is that area between the Boys and Girls Club that's on Shell Road
Right.
and North Phoebus Community Center, because you think Lincoln Park is down, Old Hampton is down, and Wyatt Thomas is off the cuff, and Kenny Wallace is very, very small. The Neighborhood Network Center don't offer indoor facility. They offer maybe classroom type programming. So that whole voided area, that's why transportation mills and programming is needed, because that's the area that we serve, and that's why we have as many kids as we do.
How many kids do you have? I haven't asked that yet.
On a daily basis, we operate between 40 to 50 kids, and this is the early part. So after summer, I expect us to balloon.
And you're able to use one of the city programs so that they get a nutritious and yummy lunch every day?
Yes, USDA summer program. We have the Therapeutic Recreation Center right behind us. We have the Neighborhood Network Center, and it's
you're not
various.
far from
Wyatt
Little
Thomas,
England Center
Little
either.
England. So we have a list of everywhere that serves lunch, dinner at any particular time. We have a whole list.
Now, you guys both grew up in Hampton.
Absolutely.
And you both went away for a while.
Absolutely.
How is that area or the neighborhoods you grew up in, how are they different? How are they the same? I mean, what did you feel coming back?
Well, for me, I felt it was the same place. As I came home to Hampton, I just thought it was the same place, really, to be honest. But I knew that there was changes that were happening with the centers being closed down. And I knew that it was time, this year specifically, to get this organization to the opportunities for people to utilize. I just want to make sure that all kids have an opportunity to play in sports and not be left behind. As we all know, I played football at Bethel. I was on the '92 state championship team.
Oh,
with Allen
congratulations.
Iverson.
I'm not real good at sports, so you do have to tell me these things.
And so the camaraderie that was built between the guys on that team still exists to this day. I can go out places in the city and see guys I play with, and we have some instant conversation and instant things that we can talk about. So I know what the power of sports is. I know what the power of organization between children are, and these are things that carry on further into life that, has lifetime, achievements that they can actually look back on and treasure. So I think that that's very important for kids. And then, just like I said, with his expertise and the things that he know about what's going on in the city and how it works, it works out well. It's just a good thing for us.
So what did you feel coming back here? Did you see it as the same place you grew up? Did you see changes? Did you see bigger needs?
I saw it was kind of nostalgic for me to come back, because I left like in a '98 time frame, so it just felt empty to me. Like I felt like it was a place, I'm not gonna say I abandoned, but I left, and it was where the sense of my pain was. So after a period of time being gone, it just felt like it was time to come back and give a helping hand. It was almost like Roscoe Jenkins. Like I had went away to prove to myself that I could make it and be successful, and then it was time to come back home.
I hear that story from people a lot. They think that maybe Hampton doesn't have what they want. They're itching to get away. They learn new things. They see new things. And then they remember, I don't know whether it's the water, the sense of community, the place that once nurtured them, and they want to come back and give.
Charity begins at home, and then you pay it forward.
Your story is also interesting, Corey, because you got involved in government basically as sort
Absolutely.
of a protest against government. I mean, you became a neighborhood
not
activist.
A protest.
Well, you didn't want the center to close. And
Yes.
and so something negative sort of motivated you into a pretty hefty sense of involvement. I mean, we met you at the neighborhood commission. You are really piped in now to
Yes.
stitching together resources that help your neighborhood.
Absolutely, because it bridges the gap. I mean, you have, let's say you have a large people who left here with good education who need an avenue to be able to give back. If all things are shut off, they can't come back for a few hours, or when they come back, they just need a friendly environment where they can come and lend a skill or two. Like my skill set is completely different than his, but I can't do it by myself and neither can he. But we have friends that can definitely help give volunteer information and education to these kids already utilizing the resources that we have. So we're not trying to reinvent the wheel, just provide opportunity where there's not.
Speaking of the different skill sets, I think that's one of the interesting and different things about your program, and you touched on it earlier. I just want to come back around to it, is, you're the teacher, you're the mechanic. There are different routes, different paths to meaningful careers. And one of the things you're exposing people to are the trades. You said HVAC, electricians. I mean, talking about different skill sets that people can acquire, so there isn't just this one rigid path, you must do this in school.
Oh, absolutely. Because as a young man or woman, eventually you're going to leave your parents' nest and have to be in a home. So, for example, let's say an average kid and a bad kid and a good kid graduate with the same skill set. They just have the ability to be students. They don't have any tangible skills. But if you were to get married at 18 as a man, you would be expected to take on those duties. So if the plumbing is broke or the car is broke, either she's going to call a man or she's going to look at you. So just to have a basic skill set would be comfortable for you to feel like a man in your home. It validates the position that you have. If you can't control something, you can't protect it.
Or I'm going to say the same thing is true of women. I have changed out the garbage disposal. Right. I have built stuff in the backyard. I've got a chainsaw. I mean, it's really expensive if you have to call a repairman, for every little thing, for
Absolutely.
rewiring a switch that's broken. And it's a skill set. I learned some of it at home. My dad certainly taught me how to change the oil in my car because I couldn't afford to do it and things like that. But there's a set of life skills that people don't take shop. People don't take home ec anymore. I mean, you do kind of graduate knowing your SOLs, but not knowing a lot of those other things.
Anything.
And so if you don't learn it at home, where do you learn it? And the schools
Absolutely.
don't have time. I mean, you're a teacher in the school. You know what the focus is there. It's got to come from somewhere.
That's why it's considered a non-traditional wraparound.
Mm-hmm.
So we take what they like. Since it's out of school time, we know they like basketball. We know they like football. So you put them on intramural teams, give them a little basketball, a little food, a little education, and a little experience. Before they know it, their years have passed, and they won't be so frustrated by their limitations. They'll be able to imagine doing something else because they've seen it or been exposed to it. A lot of times we don't do things because we don't know that it exists. So just like it's probably about 5 of us in this room right now, we all see this room differently because we're different. Mm-hmm. If he's a plumber, if I'm a painter, if he's a architect, we're going to view the same room absolutely different. So we just want to make sure kids, boys and girls, when they come in the room, they see things other than just a blank wall and look for somebody else to service them. They can imagine for themselves a business.
Awesome. Okay, so Jamen, Corey, what do you guys need to continue this work or to expand this work? What, if anything, can you tell people who are watching this on TV, hey, come help?
Well, I mean, if people would just get involved as far as donating a little bit of time every day. We need people to come by and talk about career paths. We need people to come by and, maybe bring some food items, bring some used clothing items, bring anything that could possibly help put a smile on a child's face and keep them motivated to understand that this is a place that's safe and that, the community will rally around them right in their own area. See, a lot of times these kids will go to different places like the community center, but when they walk out, it's kind of like in a commercialized area. They don't see this being somewhere in a neighborhood like they live in. Mm-hmm. And so that's key for what we're doing in that area back there off from Darling Stadium. But again, there's people getting involved. I mean, we have a campaign called 1,000 Friends of Stop and Pop. And basically what that does is allows you to go on our website and donate $10 per month. And when we get 1,000 people, that is our goal. And those continue to help our programs to build up, to continue to help maintenance on our facilities and different things like that. Also allows us to look at other places where we might be able to afford to rent, to utilize for the children to actually have other experiences outside of the actual Stop and Pop facility. So if I could tell.
Transportation is a big issue for kids, I'm going to assume. you know.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we have a 15-passenger van, and we've been using that the last few days. It needs a little work, but you know, all vehicles do, right?
You're a mechanic.
Yeah,
It's like what, an airplane, but you can adapt, right?
Absolutely. And so, you know, maybe we go and rent a facility where we can actually work on equipment and different vehicles and things like that, because I'm looking at that is some of the things that we need to work on. And I know like the military, they have the craft shop and stuff like that. You know, it'd be nice if we might could get out on Langley and take a couple of kids to the craft shop and show them how to work on cars and things like that. So we have a lot of resources here in Hampton. It's just got to be used right.
Got to be used. What's your website?
The website is www.stopandpopysc.org. You'll see a beautiful rendition of our facility. It's just a house, and then it has a basketball court in the backyard, but it's more than that to a lot of kids, and they're really appreciating it, and I'm so happy to be able to do this for the kids in Hampton.
Well, we are so happy that you were doing this for the kids in Hampton.
Right.
Thank both of you for coming
thank
back to the area and for getting involved and for making a difference.
Thank you. Thanks for having us, really.
And thanks for having us,
appreciate
and
it.
we're really appreciative of this.
Thank you. And thank you for watching. I hope you will be inspired to do something similar, or to contribute in your own way, or to contribute to this organization via their website or to volunteer. Thank you so much.